Christmas had always been sacred to me. For years, I was the one who cooked, decorated, and kept our family together. But this year was different. My son Daniel had recently married Claire, a woman who never liked me. She called me old-fashioned, rolled her eyes when I gave advice, and treated me like I was just a burden. Still, I wrapped gifts, baked cookies, and carried hope in my heart. When I knocked on the door of the home I had worked my whole life to pay for, the same house I had signed over for Daniel and his wife to live in, I expected a warm welcome. Instead, Daniel opened the door, arms crossed. "Mom, I wasn't expecting you." His voice was cold. "I brought presents," I said softly. "I thought I'd join for Christmas dinner." Behind him, I saw Claire smirking. She whispered something in his ear, and that's when he dropped the words that tore me apart. "You're not welcome in this house. Go home, Mom." My chest tightened. The world blurred. I stood there, holding cookies that suddenly felt heavy as bricks. I whispered, "This is my home too," but the door slammed shut in my face. That night, I sat in my tiny apartment with the lights off, staring at the cookies I had baked for people who didn't even care if I lived or died. Tears streamed down my face, but as the clock struck midnight, something inside me hardened. I remembered every sacrifice I had made, the double shifts, the sleepless nights, the way I had signed the mortgage under my name so Daniel and Claire could have a beautiful home without stress. And suddenly, the truth hit me like thunder. They thought they could throw me away, but they were standing on the ground I built. So, I made a decision. A quiet, steady decision. If my son didn't want me in my house, then neither he nor his wife would enjoy it either. The next morning, I dressed up, put on my best coat, and went straight to the bank. I still had full control over the mortgage. And while Daniel thought he was the man of the house, the truth was, he hadn't paid a single cent of it. I told the bank manager, "Cancel the payment plan. Effective immediately." He looked at me surprised. "Ma'am, are you sure? This will put the property into foreclosure." I smiled for the first time in weeks. "I'm very sure." Within days, letters began arriving at Daniel's doorstep. At first, he ignored them. Then, panic set in. Claire's expensive tastes had already drained their savings, and without my payments, they were drowning. One evening, there was a furious knock on my door. I opened it to find Daniel, his face pale with anger and fear. "Mom, what did you do?" he demanded. I calmly sipped my tea. "I stopped paying for your life, Daniel," he stammered. You can't do this. We'll lose the house." "That's right," I said coldly. "Because when you slammed the door on me, you didn't just shut me out of Christmas. You shut me out of the family I gave everything for. You made it clear I wasn't welcome in my own home, so why should I keep it standing for you?" Claire appeared behind him, shrieking, "You're evil. You can't treat us like this." I set down my cup and looked them both in the eyes. "I treated you like royalty for too long. Now it's time you learn humility." Weeks later, the foreclosure was finalized. The house, my house, was no longer theirs. Daniel and Claire had to pack their designer clothes and fancy furniture and leave in shame. Where did they go? To a small rental on the outskirts of town, where neighbors whispered about their downfall. And me? I wasn't bitter anymore. I wasn't broken. I used the money I had been saving for them to buy myself a cozy little cottage by the lake. It wasn't big, but it was peaceful, and it was mine. On Christmas Eve the following year, I sat by the fire, warm cocoa in my hands, surrounded by true friends who cared for me. And I smiled, because I knew one thing for certain. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give yourself is walking away from those who never valued you.